Hello and welcome. So this is more of a random thoughts on potion brewing rather than an actual tutorial. But hopefully there's something that might be useful to a few people in this video if they want to fully automate some potion brewing. So I was watching Nembon's video, and in it he had this clock to help reset potion brewing after the last item went in so that the items refilled automatically and changed over. Now in that video there's only one brewing stand, whereas I don't really want 500 of one potion. I'd like, a bunch of different potions. So the first concept is a little bit simpler. This is just simply a water refilling station. So similar to Nembon's, we have a system over here with a dropper and a dispenser. And basically these empty bottles are pushed into the dispenser, filled from this, and then caught by one of these hoppers. And we have a hopper at the front so we can put some excess in. And all it's really doing is feeding the water bottles along these hoppers and then in through the back, so that whenever we brew some potions and we take the ones away, fresh water bottles are automatically put in. So we'll just do some netherwort and some carrots. We'll just do a simple potion. So put the netherwort in, put the carrot in to go after. Hoppers on top just simply so you can do some recipes. It's not fully automatic, but if you just want something simple so that you can quickly brew, say 15 strength potions quite quickly, this sort of setup would work quite good and you don't have to keep filling in your water bottles. So we'll see that this will go from 1 and then the carrot automatically loads. We're using the target block, so this system is set up so that if this hopper is not empty, this system isn't running, so we don't waste our water bottles. You can sort of demonstrate this if I pull a whole bunch of water bottles out quite quickly. As you can see, they do fill up quite quickly, much more than fast enough to catch up with any potion brewing. We should be able to see that the clock is running now and refilling our water bottles. And we'll keep doing that until we get some items in here enough to hold it powered, which we've already done. So we've already refilled all our water bottles. And as we can see, our potion over here is, and when we take our potions, we get new water bottles. And it basically just makes it a lot easier to deal with the water bottle aspect, but it isn't full automation. But the second thought was that blaze powder lasts quite a long time, so you don't really need to automate putting the blaze powder in. We've got 54 here, but you can brew an awful lot of potions with 54 blaze powder. So you don't need a sideways in for the blaze powder, which means you can just feed the water in. So this is the same system. We have a water filling station here that just keeps these hoppers full of water. And then we've implemented essentially Ilmango system where if there's an item sitting here, it'll hold this clock, and then when it releases the clock, there's 51 items here, which will give enough items for whatever brewing ingredient just fell down there to finish brewing before it flips the system open, unlocks these, locks those, and pulls the potion out. So what does this look like in practice? Well, you start off by making sure all of these are powered, and these are your disabled switches. So if these are powered, then this particular line is disabled. So we have rabbit's feet, ghast tears, venom membranes, carrots, and the ingredients can come up so you can have your add-ons. We could have another layer above if we want to. We release the hold on the system. So this is basically just simulating an overload detection. So basically the comparator at the end, and I'll just uncover all of these so you can see. The comparator at the end is going to have the highest signal for many of these comparators, which means if any of these chests fill up, this will turn that block on, or we can override it with the switch. So we're just going to take it off, so it's released now. Now this doesn't start the system, this just simply avoids disabling it. To start the system, we actually have to simulate the end of a previous item. So we will just leave these locked for the moment. and we'll prime the system. So to prime the system, we just wait for these blocks to come over so that they're fully all over here. It should be possible to set up a comparator and lamp to tell you when it's ready. Now this simulates the last item from a previous set going through, but the reason we're leaving these all disabled is we don't want water to come in here yet, because that will cause the system to actually start pulling water bottles through, and we don't want that. So we finished priming, so we can unprime now, but I will just simply flick the switches for the ones I want to enable. So they are now all off, which means that these are primed and ready to fire when this finishes the clock and lets it go. And I think I might have been mistaken about the water bottles, because yeah, okay, we're going to get some water bottles anyway, but that's okay, it's only the first lot. So when those items come back all the other way, it will toggle the system to pull the water bottles out, but in pulling the water bottles out, it'll fire those dispensers to set up the next lot of ingredients. There they go. If we come down here now, we can see that we've started brewing with our first ingredient, and we've got the other ingredients lined up. And basically that'll keep going until the system either fills up over here or we run out of ingredients. Now, because we didn't enable those two, the water bottles aren't flowing into here, the ingredients aren't flowing into here, so unless these levers are pressed, these systems aren't on. Did need a way to disable it, because if you're going to build on these systems, you're not going to use the whole thing all the time. So, you know, you could just say if you wanted, 3 different potions, you just set them all up, just get the system going. Now, as for extra water bottles, we can just simply collect those. There it is. And we just inject it back into the system over here. So no wastage. And yeah, so our first lot of potions should have just come through now. And as you can see, it started brewing the next lot. So the system can be made, obviously tall enough for whatever potion you want, so you can have whatever potions you want. And you can go up to 16 blocks. Should be 16 blocks? Yeah. Say 14 blocks just to be on the safe side. So you could have 14 of these systems going at the same time. Yeah, and that's basically it. So going through the redstone components a little bit of time. This is the overflow protection circuit. So we'll just set all of these back to 0. These are simulating our chests. And this is just to demonstrate that this will read the highest of whatever these is. So if that's at 2 or 3, we'll read 3. And if this one goes to 4 or 5, we'll read 5. So this is how the overflow protection circuit works. We don't need that. Cake there is just simply to read not quite 15. So I don't know if we can see the power level of this one, but it's essentially going not quite a full signal into this one, so that when the chests are completely full, it's high enough and it comes through and does the override protection. The override protection helps lock this clock. This clock is the same from Ilmango's video, but essentially, if there's an item sitting here, which basically means there's an item brewing and there's an item waiting, it will essentially hold this on. And then once that releases, so the last item along here is finished coming through, this will go, and these items will start going back the other way, which should happen any second now. What do we have here? Last here, we might be a little bit out of sync. Yeah, but then that will, when these two go, it's ready to reset. When it resets and the items finally come out of here, that's the start of the cycle. So this will turn off. When it turns off, there's a slight delay here, so this is just extending the pistons, the signal. So these hoppers remain locked until the system cycles over, at which point they release. When they release, these turn on, locking the water. So the water is locked and can't flow in, while potions are coming out. and then essentially no more potions can come in. These are all off at the moment, but when the system resets, it also triggers those torches, so new ingredients come in. And then once ingredients hit here, it starts potion brewing again, so which means this comes back on again, holds the clock, inverts the signal again, locks these hoppers so they can't come out, and unlocks those so that more water can come in, or vice versa. Just going to fly around very briefly so anybody can have a bit of look. So, overload protection circuit, hopper content protection circuit, clock circuit, 51 items coming between these two. Overflow pushes into that to power that to run the clock. Can also disable it from here. Comparator into a block, into some redstone, and back out into the system as a full strength signal. Comes both sides of these target blocks with a delay on this side, so it's essentially extended by 1 tick. Inverted here, so that the water hoppers that feed water in aren't active at the same time as the hoppers that pull items out. When these change signal, it also activates this torch tower, so when the torches turn on, it pushes items from each of these droppers into this hopper tower, which then feeds into the bottom of the brewing stands, which trigger the comparators, which allows the system to loop. And as we can see, we are getting all of our items. So we've got 6, 5 for some reason, 6. Something's probably gone wrong. We have a brewing stand with no water. How can we have no water? Oh well. So it's not perfect, it still needs a little bit of work. The main reason I'm not finishing this off as a full tutorial is I'm not likely to use this in any of my survival worlds. I'm more likely to use this system where I just want water to be refilled, because I never need that many potions. But I'm recording this video in case anybody wants to take the concept and push it a little bit further. Thank you for listening.